Hi friends, it's almost 2 weeks into Season 22 of Apex Legends, and we've now got enough data to get a good idea of what the meta's looking like. So I'll talk you through the legend and the weapon meta, and hopefully it's going to help you do better in Season 22. So let's start with the legend meta. It's an interesting one. There are no new legends in Season 22 as you know, but there have been some solid improvements to a few existing legends, and that's kind of changed up how the legend meta is looking. First, for the general meta, you can see this view of the top 8 most picked legends generally across all ranks and pubs so far. You can see Pathfinder's at the top here. I think that he goes really well with the new map because of the verticality he can achieve, making him a pretty good choice. Surprisingly, or perhaps unsurprisingly, Lifeline has seen a nice rise in the meta recently, and Season 22 now has her as the second most picked legend. Following that, you can see it's Bangalore and Octane. No surprises for these two, they've been strong picks for a while. An interesting one after that though is you can see Revenant. He's slowly been climbing through the meta again, and we'll talk about weapon meta in a minute, but just with the new map and the kind of weapons that you've got that are popular this season, Revenant's ability to climb those tall buildings on the new map, plus his extra health from his ultimate to deal with some of the meta weapons this season, make him a very strong choice. In terms of the rest of the top 8, you can see Wraith and Horizon are still there or thereabout. You can see Mad Maggie there rounds out the top 8 as well. If I quickly show you the top 16, you can see two interesting picks there are Vantage and Krypto. Both have had sizable buffs this season, and I'll show you the impact when I show you the ranked picks in just a moment. Before that though, let me just show you the full list of pick rates across all the legends. You can see right at the bottom there, the least picked legend in Season 22 is actually Gibraltar. Now I do wonder if that's got something to do with the fact that the gun shield is now a new hop up for LMGs, and it kind of devalues Gibraltar just a little bit. So I wonder if that's why his pick rate is so low. Now let me show you the diamond pick rate. This is the top 16 view, and you can see Revenant again is still a very popular pick even for the higher ranked players. But you can also see Krypto and Vantage there. So let's talk about them. They've clearly had a big rise this season, and if I show you a comparison to last season, look how low Krypto and Vantage were in the list. They're not far off bottom, but now this season they make the top 16. Now the reasons for that are simply because they've had some pretty good improvements in Season 22 that actually make them viable legends now. Krypto's had probably one of the best improvements we've seen to an upgrade ability for any legend, with the fact that he can now go invisible. A lot of people are using this as a ranked trick to essentially gain some extra placement points, because when Krypto goes in his drone, he becomes invisible, and people are using this to essentially hide and try and get up the ranked placements. Now I'm sure this strategy won't last that long because people will realise you can still scan Krypto when he's hiding, so he's going to be pretty easy to find if you've got a scanning legend. Plus he does actually have some special effect sounds when he's using his drone and he's invisible, so as soon as people get used to hearing that noise, he's going to be a little bit easier to find. Having said that, for now, if you want a meta legend that's going to be really good for playing ranked super passively and maybe help you steal a few extra placement points, then Krypto is going to be a very strong meta pick for that. Vantage on the other hand has had more aggressive buffs to her abilities, particularly her ultimate, which is going to allow you to deal a lot more damage with your second and follow-on shot after that. It means Vantage has become a pretty good Season 22 legend. Interestingly, you can also see Loba is up there with the higher ranked players. I'm assuming that's partly down to the difficulty with the loot this season, especially on the new map. So of course in these situations, having a Loba with her ultimate that allows you to potentially pick up loot a little bit easier and faster could end up making her a bit of a meta pick for you this season as well. So that's what the legend meta is looking like so far in Season 22. Let's talk about weapon meta next. You've actually got a fair few choices in the weapon meta in Season 22. Apart from the care package weapons, which are all obviously very strong, you've had some buffs to some other weapons and even weapon categories that make them stand out in Season 22. One of those categories are the shotguns. Specifically for the Peacekeeper and the Mastiff, essentially both have tighter patterns now, with some pellets from the outside of those patterns being removed. It's going to make your shots a little bit easier to hit. And because of that, shotguns are actually a lot more popular in the meta for Season 22. And you'll likely find you're running into a fair few people that are wielding shotguns. Of course, the Akimbo weapons are new in Season 22, and they're very popular at the moment. They're definitely meta in terms of being strong, but I feel like when you get later in the games and people have red or purple armors, they're not quite as strong. However, once you get hammer points on those, they become very strong in those situations once again. So if you're looking for some fun weapons to use, definitely consider using the Akimbo weapons. Now, you'll know Season 21 was the Havoc meta, and last season's pro stats show you exactly how and why. You can see the Havoc got the most kills amongst the pro players in the ALGS. However, since then, the Havoc's been nerfed 3 times. So is it still a good weapon? The answer is yes, it's still pretty strong. But is it as good as it was? And is it a pure Havoc weapon meta in Season 22? The answer is no. The hipfire is nowhere near as good as it was, and they've even reduced the amount of energy ammo that you can carry per stack down to 53 from 60. So because of those, along with a few tweaks that came mid of last season, the Havoc's not quite the strong number 1 meta pick that it was in Season 21. Now, the other weapon that was the meta last season with the Havoc was the Hemlock. This one is still very strong. I will say in the early access event I attended for Season 22, the devs told us directly that they are keeping a lookout on the Hemlock and there could potentially be some future nerfs, which kind of tells you they still think it's a meta weapon in Season 22. Now, just to go with this, the R301 is finally back thanks to the boost with the magazine capacities for the extended mags. On top of that, you've also had a boost to your light ammo stacks, which allow you to carry 72 ammo per stack, meaning you can fit more ammo in your backpack if you're carrying a light weapon, which gives you a bit more incentive to pick up the R301. They've also nerfed the Flatline a little bit, just reducing the ammo capacity per mag by 1 or 2 depending which mag you're picking up. So I'm actually finding a lot more people are choosing the R301 over the Flatline this season compared to last. I will finish by giving a shout out to the LMGs for the weapon meta. The new hop up which I mentioned earlier, essentially being Gibraltar's gun shield for the LMG, is essentially making LMGs almost a little bit of a meta pick, although it's not quite on the same level as the shotguns, the Hemlock or the R301 just yet. And there you have it, that's what the meta's looking like for the weapons and the legends early on in Apex Legends Season 22. Share your experience in the comments down below. What have you been finding with the meta, and what weapons and legends are you enjoying so far this season? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.